Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. Before I proceed for my presentation, let me introduce myself first. So, my name is Siti Noliana binti Yatim. I'm a first year student in Bachelor of Science Property Management. So today, I want to present about one of the subjects that I took for this semester, which is SPEH 1093, Contract Agency and Tort Law. And the topic I will present is related to tort of trespass to land. So, the first thing that we should know is the meaning of land. So, what is the land? The land is an area of ground, especially one that is used for a particular purpose, such as farming and building. So, at the left side, you can see the example of land. This is a meaning of trespass. From Cambridge Dictionary, trespass is to go onto someone's land or enter their building without permission. And from vocabulary.com, trespass is to illegally enter someone's property or overstep your bounds in another way. So next, this is a difference between trespass and nuisance. Trespass. Trespass is defined as a physical invasion of another individual's land. Second, this standard is upheld as a strict liability offense. And the third is trespass inactionable per se. While nuisance is defined as a non-physical or indirect invasion of land or property. Second, nuisance describes a type of harm that is suffered. Next, this is an example of trespass. This signboard usually placed at the front gate. When got this signboard, we can avoid trespass to land from happening. And this is an example for nuisance. This nuisance is mostly occurring in neighborhood. So, next I will explain about type of trespass. There are three types of trespass, and the first one is trespass to the person. The second one is trespass to the chattels, and the third one is trespass to land. So first I will explain about definition of trespass to the person. There are three types of trespass. The first of which is trespass to the person. Whether intent is a necessary element of trespass to the person varies by jurisdiction. Under English decision, Letang versus Cooper, intent is required to sustain a trespass to the person cause of action. In the absence of intent, negligence is the appropriate tort. In other jurisdictions, gross negligence is sufficient to sustain a trespass to the person, such as when a defendant negligently operates an automobile, strike the plaintiff with the great force. Next, I will explain about definition of trespass to the chattels. Trespass to the chattel, also known as trespass to good or trespass to personal property, is defined as an intentional interference with the possession of personal property, proximately causing injury, while originally a remedy for the exploitation of personal property. The tort grew to incorporate any interference with the personal property of another. In some jurisdictions, such as United Kingdom, trespass to chattels has been codified to clearly define the scope of the remedy. In most jurisdictions, trespass to chattel remains a purely common law remedy, the scope of which varies by jurisdiction. And the third is definition of trespass to the land. Trespass to land involves the wrongful interference with one possessory right in real property. It is not necessary to prove that harm was suffered to bring a claim, and is instead actionable per se. While most trespasses to land are intentional, British courts have held liability holds for trespass committed negligently. Similarly, some American courts will find liability for unintentional intrusion only where such intrusion arises under circumstances evincing negligence or involve a highly dangerous activity. Next, I will explain about the type of trespass to the land. There are two types of trespass to the land, which is the first one is space and the second one is subsoil. Let's look about a space an example. Domain of landowner over airspace is limited to the lower atmosphere in United States vs. Sbeh. Landowner domain was limited to the space below 365 feet, which is 111 meters. Justice Douglas reasoned that should it find in the landowner's favor and accept the action doctrine that at common law ownership of land extends to the periphery of the universe, every transactional flight would subject the operator to countless trespass suits. Citizens have a right to fly in the navigable airspace. 31 years later, in Bernstein of Lake vs. Skyview and General Ltd, an English court reached a similar conclusion, finding an action for trespass failed because the violation of airspace took place several hundred meters above the land. If the Latin maxim were applied literally, it would lead to the absurdity of trespass being committed every time a satellite passes over a suburban garden. Next, we'll proceed about subsoil. This is an example about subsoil. William Blackstone's commentaries on the law of England articulate the common law principle is for whoever owns the soil, it is there up to heaven and down to hell. In modern times, courts have limited the right of absolute dominance over the subsurface. For instance, drilling a directional well that bottom out beneath another property to access oil and gas reserve is trespass, but a subsurface invasion by hydraulic fracturing is not, where mineral rights are severed from surface ownership. It is trespass to use another surface to assist in mining the minerals beneath the individual's property, but where an emergency responder accesses the subsurface following a blowout and fire, no trespass lies. Even the possible subsurface migration of toxic waste stored underground is not trespass, except where the plaintiff can demonstrate that the action actually interferes with the owner's reasonable and forcible use of the subsurface, or in some jurisdictions that the subsurface trespasser known with substantial certainty that the toxic liquid will migrate to the neighboring land. So we will proceed about Q&A. I have stand by the question. So the question is, Sammy delivers all the daily newspaper to all the houses along Jalan Tok Janggut. Encik Ahmad, who lived along Jalan Tok Janggut, usually left his front gate open in the mornings, so that Sami can leave the day's newspaper under the front door of his house. Yesterday, after leaving Encik Ahmad's newspaper and at its usually place, Sami noticed that a lovely bird had made its nest between the branches of Encik Ahmad's rambutan tree. He put the remaining newspaper down and climbed the tree. He was seen by Encik Ahmad, who believed that Sami was trying to peep into his bedroom. Encik Ahmad wants to know if he can take any civil action against Sami. So I hope you all can answer this question by giving the correct answer after you guys hearing the explanation about trespass to the land from me. That's all from me. Thank you for willing to take the time to listen my presentation. I hope you guys enjoy it and see you again. Bye.